Joining us now from Capitol for our Women Who Run Things series, the chair of the House Republican Conference, Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers of Washington. How are you?
Good, Mika.
Good to have you on board.
Me.
I'm reading about your kids, and I have my daughter here. I just asked her what it was like growing up with me, and she said it was exhausting. So that's what you get after raising all those little ones.
Oh, boy.
So you've got 3 under the age of 10. I want to ask you about that first, but first let's talk about the headlines. We had historic elections overnight in Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu is the victor. Do you think Republicans played a role in his victory?
Well, you know, I think that this was an important election, obviously. It was great to have Benjamin Netanyahu come visit. You know, he made it very clear that it wasn't political, that he just wanted to talk to America, talk to Congress. I thought it was an important message that he gave us about the United States-Israel relationship and the prospect of Iran having a nuclear weapon. And that has long been a position that we have shared, that we do not want Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
So you say it was an important message, and it was good that he came over. But obviously, we both know that was sort of not without controversy, and the White House wasn't notified, and it might have even, some would say, even damaged further the relationship between Netanyahu and Obama. Do you think that was the intention of that?
Not at all. This was an invitation that Speaker Boehner gave to the Prime Minister. It was actually going to be earlier in the year. We've heard from other leaders around the world. We heard from Poroshenko, the president of Ukraine, last September. We're going to be hearing from the president of Afghanistan later on this spring.
But not before an election. Yeah.
Well, and just the timing of it, that's just the way that it worked out in the schedule.
Amy?
Congresswoman, this is Amy here. You know, you have the 47 Republicans that signed that letter open letter to the Iranian mullahs regarding the Iranian negotiations. And a lot of Americans, frankly, think that it was inappropriate. Certainly the White House does. What was your view?
You know, I think what we really need to focus on is Iran and their efforts to develop a nuclear weapon. They've made it very clear what their intentions are. There's important negotiations going on right now between our administration and the Iranians.
So do you think the Republican letter was helpful?
Well, I think it's important that we also, as members of Congress, as senators, that Iran knows that we do have a role to play, that the sanctions that were imposed on Iran were imposed by, House and Senate members, and the administration has waived those sanctions, yet many believe, and I join in believing, that those sanctions were playing an important role in getting Iran to a place where they would start cooperating more. Yeah. We need more transparency from Iran. This is serious. The idea of Iran having a nuclear weapon, it changes the dynamics in the Middle East and for the entire world. And so this is an important time. Congress has a responsibility. Senators have a responsibility to make sure that we also are a part of this decision that the United States of America is going to be making.
All right, Mike Barnicle.
Congresswoman, I'm going to take a surprising turn here and let you off the hook in talking about foreign relations in the Middle East. I'm going to ask you about your son, Cole, about how you take care of him. Tell us about him, first of all.
Right. Well, I was single when I was elected to Congress. I born and raised on a farm. And the best thing that has happened was having 3 kids, including Cole. He's now in 2nd grade, 7 years old, and he was born with that extra 21st chromosome. Not what I had expected by any means, but he makes me a better person. He's a better legislator, and I'm grateful for his impact. And you think about the fact that he's taught me so much, and I'm a part of the disabilities community. And I think what I enjoy most about the disabilities community is that they celebrate what every person has to offer. And I've seen the tremendous positive impact that Cole's had on my life. And I'm grateful that we were able to get the ABLE Act signed into law by the president in December. Important legislation that's even going to empower those with disabilities more by allowing them to save, like others do for college, they can save for education, transportation, and other needs that they might have.
So going forward, you and your husband have a level of affluence that is going to allow you to care for Cole in a way that many Americans wouldn't be able to care for a child with Down syndrome. And with all sorts of federal programs under threat, with budget cuts being supposedly on the horizon, what would you tell them about potential programs that would either be eliminated or cut way back that would help a child just like Cole?
Well, I think that it is very important that we have these safety net programs for those that have needs. I think that there's no dispute there. We want to make sure that those safety net programs are available. But I have also seen where these programs quite often mean that someone with disabilities is left to live in poverty, and I want more for Cole, and I want more for everyone. I want them to feel like they can reach their full potential, and that's where when Cole was born, Brian and I were told, for example, don't put any assets in his name because it might disqualify him from one of these programs, and that's where the ABLE Act is changing the focus. It's actually, how can we empower you to work some, to live independently, and to really, reach your full potential even more. So I think we need to be changing the focus on, rather than just meaning that you're on one of these programs,
right,
to how do we empower you to be, reach your full potential, live independently.
I love it. Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers, thank you very much for being on.
Thanks for having me.